Hi everyone, this is Matt from drawingtutorialsonline.com. Listen, I just finished a portrait drawing course and I'm really excited to share it with you. What do you see here on your monitor? Well, basically what you see is the finished drawing. It's pretty small. It's about 8 inches by 7.5 inches tall. I finished this drawing in roughly 7 to 8 hours, and I wanted to share with you in this first lesson that I'm posting here on YouTube how I got started using angles and measurements. All right, let's dive into it. All right, here we go. Let's get started. So the first angle on the page, I like to start with the edge of the hair. So you put that angle down on the page, and the next thing you do is you say, okay, where is the placement? Am I going to have enough room for the shoulders? Do I have enough room at the bottom? And I realized I had enough room, but I didn't want to be leaning down with my chin against my chest, so I lifted it up just a little bit. And again, starting with the angles is something that I have been doing for years. And this is more of, some teachers call this the envelope. Everyone has their different name for it, but if you've been with me for a while here at drawingtutorialsonline.com, I like to start with these angles. It's as if I put a ruler on the edge of the page. Now, you do not want to press down hard with these first initial lines. You want to have all the weight on your hand, not on the pencil point. I also really like to put in part of the shoulders a negative space to give it context. Whenever you draw a portrait, you always want to get in the shoulders and the neck to give everything context. Now, these first lines, if they're not somewhat correct, the rest of the drawing is going to be about fixing these lines, okay? Now, okay, so I have quite a few. So I adjusted the video. Now, remember, what I also did there was I got up and I looked at the drawing from far away. Yes, at this early stage, I did that. It's very important because, like I said, these first angles are going to set the stage for your struggles or your fun for the rest of the drawing. Now, don't stay on the contour. Do a little bit on the inside, and basically it's the shape of the hair versus the shape of the face. My next angle goes from the forehead to the chin. Just to kind of give me a little context, I'm trying to do a quick gesture through the jaw, from the back of the hair through the jaw shadow all the way to the chin. Don't worry if it's not 100% perfect. Just these initial light gesture lines are very, very, very beneficial. You don't want to get into all of the little the micro angles, the smaller angles. These are called macro angles. They're very, very big angles that set the stage for the size relationship of the hair to the face to the shoulders. Okay, now lean back. Lean back, look at the drawing, look at your photo reference, look at the drawing, look at your photo reference. Now what we can do is we can start to lay in a couple of targets. Target for the bottom of the hair, target for the jaw angle there, target for the chin. Very light pressure on the pencil. I'm not drawing the lips and the chin, I'm just drawing the big angles for the lips and the chin. Let's dance down, and what I'm looking at right now and what you should be looking at too are distances and size relationships. This is a big thing in the critique gallery. What is the size relationship of the back of the hair versus the thickness of the neck? The thickness of the neck is much wider than the bottom of the hair. Something to take into consideration. So right now, I'm probably going to have to make the neck a touch thicker if I keep it the way that it is. Go back and start all over again and now adjust. Let's refine where that hair touches the skin. This video is sped up by 20% and it's still a little slow. So I was really going slow. Now we can do some micro angles. I'm measuring from the brow, the bridge of the nose to the hair. Let's just do our attempt at the nose. Okay. Look at it from far away. Don't do the lips just yet. We're getting the big forehead, eye socket, nose shape, and then the distance from the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin. That could be a little longer. So you see, I noticed that immediately, size relationships. So what did I do? I dropped the chin just a little bit. I am not pressing down hard with my pencil yet. Now we can add two little micro angles to the nose. That edge is the character of his nose. Look 50% of the time at the reference. Look at the distance from the bottom of the nose to the angle of the upper lip, angle of the lower lip, and now I see I need to drop the chin. So that seems to be the culprit. This is the fourth time I'm dropping the chin. But it's okay because all of those lines that are there are going to be incorporated into the shadow shape under the jaw. If you plan ahead a little bit and you know you're going to be shading, you can turn those mistakes or those missed measurements into a positive. Drawing the line that separates the light from the dark on the forehead. Where that brow is, there's a shadow shape right above it. The hair is casting a shadow on the forehead. Let's wrap the hair in. Right now, doesn't look too good. And your drawing, when you start, it may not look good either at these early stages. But you have to hang in there and you have to fight through this. This is the ugly duckling stage. And it's an important stage, but you don't want to live here. Okay, now what you've got to do is you've got to force yourself to start doing some measurements and drawing some shapes via the angles on the inside. Now, I'm not really drawing any of my measure lines. All of my measure lines are being done inside of my brain. But what I'm going to do for you in the PDF is I'm just going to remind you of the measure lines that I'm thinking about, and I'll draw on top of this in Photoshop. First shape. Okay, excellent. Get an initial shape in. Why? Because when you draw, some artists, including myself, draw better with shapes and lines. You don't want to draw with just lines. Lines are pretty skinny, and you're going to be able to see proportions and the character of the person with these shapes. Don't wait. If you're working on a drawing and you're going to say, okay, I only have an hour today to draw, don't wait until minute 55 to start shading. Shade very early on. We're very early into this drawing, and I've already placed my first shape. Now I'm going to probably do another shape very shortly here, but remember, that's a very light middle tone. Light middle tones at this stage of the game. Let's look at the distance between the shadow under the nose and the eye socket shape. Let's put in a little tone for the eye socket and the cast shadow on the forehead. Angle of the cast shadow. Okay, good. Let's shade now a little bit of the hair. This is called blocking in tone. But we're blocking in a very, very light way. You see all those darks on the back of his hair? If you start to mess with them right now, that's just going to lead to heartache. Save those darks and gradually build up. That's part of the reason why I like the Kohl Erase pencil so much. Now, this style of drawing does not necessarily have to be for you. You want to take bits and pieces of what I'm doing and try to incorporate them into your own work process. Some people like to press down hard immediately. Some people like to draw much faster. If you've ever seen me do a quick gesture drawing of the model, I do draw faster. I do everything that you're seeing here, but just at a faster pace. This is at a slower pace, even though we sped up about 20%. So you see I widened the neck there. So this is where you must get up off of your chair, reset your eyes, look out the window for a minute, and then come back and look at your drawing from far away. Let's adjust some angles now. Don't just look at that lip in a vacuum. Look at that lip and how it relates to the eye socket shape. Look at the lip and an angle, say, from the bottom of the nose. How is it angled out more? Look at this cast shadow and how big is that cast shadow underneath the lower lip in comparison to the width of the shadow on the chin. Everything is relevant. And another one of the big things that I always see a lot of people's art in the critique gallery is just a size relationship issues. The way to conquer that size relationship dilemma that boggles a lot of people is it's just comparing shapes. That's all it is. You always have to compare shapes to other shapes. Don't live in a vacuum and don't get that tunnel vision where you just work on one area of the drawing and then an hour goes by and you're like, oh, okay, that ear looks ginormous. You see, the ear is one of the most important measuring tools on a portrait, and I'm surprised I'm getting to it so late, but it's an important shape because I can look at the distance from the top of the ear to the edge of the hair and the bottom of the ear to the edge of the neck. That ear is it's leaning more towards the hair. There's less space between the top of the ear and the edge of the hair than there is to the bottom of the ear and the neck. Okay, let's get rid of those first angles. I mean, we're just going to cover them with tone, but I don't want them that powerful. Let's just block in the hair. Don't put a lot of pressure down on that pencil. Keep it light right now in case. Now, the hair is going to be drawn, its texture via different pencil stroke direction. I'm trying to keep that in mind very early on in the drawing. Okay. Now, I need to do a little bit lower. I don't want to live here. I need to put a little bit more of that shoulder in, looking at that negative space. See what I just did? I used a gesture line going through the neck to the other side of the shoulder. Draw through the neck to the other side of the shoulder. And now I can look at the negative space from the chin to the shoulder. I can start to get that sternomastoid muscle, that long, skinny muscle that originates from the back of the neck, back of the ear, I should say. Get a little bit of that deltoid in. Lean back, look at those negative spaces in between the hair and the shoulders. Let's revisit some of the angles and now put in some micro angles on top of the macro angles. Good. This is called a head gesture. In class, we usually do this. I have my students do 4 5-minute head gestures. Now, I've spent a little bit more time than 5 minutes on this one, but this is the idea. And this is the type of thing that you want to practice. You want to practice getting in these head gestures because this is how you get the solid shape of the head. This is not yet fussing with the details of the eyes or the eyelashes or the nostril or any of that stuff. This is just the structure of the head. Thank you so much for watching that video. I really appreciate it. I hope that you learned something from it. If you'd like to jump to the course and watch it in its entirety, check out some of the links in the description below. You can head on over to members.drawingtutorialsonline.com and see our entire course offering. Not only do we have a ton of drawing courses there, but every single Monday I critique member artwork. So if you watch the course and you try to draw the drawing with me, I will definitely take the time to critique it. Like I said, I critique every Monday, and I also offer up a member podcast every Monday where I help members with their art questions. It could be art-related questions, business-related questions pertaining to art, or just pencil questions. Those are my favorite. All right, thanks again for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll talk to you soon. Be good.